Japanese American Internment by
Arrow Barrett
and Arrow. um, so what was the Japanese internment? The Japanese internment was after Pearl Harbor attacks on Hawaii, or in Pearl Harbor. They locked up or put all Japanese Americans in the West into relocation camps. And these camps could last up to like the rest of World War II. And people who refused to go to these camps were arrested and jailed. And they actually took the case to the Supreme Court and they lost. But then it was reopened later and they won.
What was prioritized more, the needs of society or the rights of an individual citizen? The needs of society were much more prioritized than the rights of an individual citizen, since the government was frightened by the attacks of Pearl Harbor and how they didn't have any idea it was going to happen. They thought that people inside of the U.S., Japanese people specifically, were sided with their enemy, the Japanese at the time. And so they basically took away all their rights and put them into these relocation camps, but the Japanese called them concentration camps. And basically they wanted society to keep calm, and they used the war as a distraction from them taking away all these people's rights and treating them like farm animals, I guess.
So what amendments were violated? The First Amendment was violated because it says that Congress cannot take away freedoms such as religion or freedom of speech. And in these camps, they were forbidden to practice Buddhism and Shinto, which are some religions that the Japanese practice. The Fourth Amendment was violated because the police would basically come and ransack your house and take you out of it and bring you to these relocation camps. The Fifth was violated because none of the Japanese really got a fair trial at all, and they were not really a threat to the U.S. at all. And the 14th, which is not part of the first 10, but we thought it was still relevant, and it says that someone's loyalty cannot be judged just by their race. And they thought that all the Japanese would side with Japan.
Was the U.S. government justified in their actions? I kind of made this example of like the U.S. was just as justified as Hitler during World War II. They had no right to treat all these Japanese Americans for being Japanese, just like Hitler punished the Jewish for being Jewish. And that picture right there to the left is one of the relocation camps, and that's one of the concentration camps in Germany. So they kind of look similar, which is kind of scary. But
So how are the Japanese compensated? Each family of people who were forced to go into these camps got a formal apology, and every victim that had to go into the camps was given $20,000, along where they put the document that President Roosevelt signed to force them to go into these camps. But this only happened after lots of protesting and after the Korematsu case, Supreme Court case, where, like I mentioned before, he actually lost the first case, but then some documents showed that they were no threat to the U.S. at all.
What impact did this have on how American citizens viewed the government? Many citizens viewed it as immature, and they kind of protested during and after the relocation of all the Japanese, and and because of the protesting and the movements and like all these things they did, the Japanese were like compensated, but like as you can see, it's like in this picture, it's like what's next concentration camps, and they're just mad, and they're like they don't feel like they know it's a violation of the Japanese rights, and most of these people weren't really paying attention to the war.
So the bibliography. Do you guys have any questions? Blake.
How many years would some of them be held in the camps?
The war was probably around 4 to 5 years. So $20,000 isn't a ton of money for 4 to 5 years of your life.
How much was like $20,000 in today's dollars?
Oh no, they were like paid like.
1988 they were paid.
Yeah, it wasn't like a while ago. It was like, well, it was, but like.
Well, it was like 40
Yeah.
plus years after the war was over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I think, what was it, 120,000 people were detained.
Yeah.
And like only
And-
60%, or 60, like almost half of those people were dead
Yeah.
by that time.
Yeah, and a lot of them were like born in the U.S. and their grandparents or even great grandparents were Japanese, and just for that reason they got locked up.
Yeah, like there were second and third generations. There was like newborns in the camps and stuff.
One more question.
Where were the camps actually located?
So there was a lot. It was
Utah,
mostly.
California, Arizona, Nevada, like all along the East Coast, Hawaii.
No, the West Coast.
I mean West Coast.
Southwest and West Coast.
Enjoy.
How many people in total was it that were put in camps?
I think around
120.
You know, what the ratio was, that how many Jews were put in concentration camps and how many Japanese, or no?
Well, I mean, 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust.
Yeah,
but-
So it's not.
it's not really
as-
close. That that's not, I know it isn't the same.
It's the same kind of.
Concept.
It's the same concept, but
Yeah.
it's not
as many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's marginalized in a certain group based on one thing, right? But one was like for death camps, the other was detention, right? Okay.